They know that the only deal that can be made with Hamas is if the war ends. Trump is the person that they're all waiting for. I was told specifically in about 3 weeks' time, there's likely to be a deal from now, and 3 weeks is the time when Trump is going to enter the White House.
Lots have changed in the Middle East over the last year. We've seen the fall of a 53-year-long dictatorship in Syria. The Hezbollah militia has been broken up, not least by exploding pagers. And Israel's fears of attack from Iran have nearly disappeared after Iran's missiles failed to penetrate Israel's shields. But still in the same column, we have the continuing war in Gaza, and 96 Israeli hostages are still unaccounted for. Also still there, Benjamin Netanyahu as Prime Minister of Israel, despite troubles in the courts and with his health. So what might 2025 bring in the Middle East? Dr. Gershon Baskin, a seasoned expert in Middle East negotiations and peace building, can join us now. He played a pivotal role in the 2011 Israeli-Palestinian hostage exchange and now serves as Middle East Director at the International Communities Organization. Dr. Baskin, good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
And to you, thank you for joining us. If you look at it from a military perspective, the last 12 months was a good year for Netanyahu, wasn't it?
I don't know how you look at it from a military perspective when so many people have been killed and so many lives have been destroyed. This conflict is being addressed with military means, and there's never been a military solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, not now or not at any time in the past. And we need to recognize that the only way to move forward is by dealing with the political elements of this conflict. And this is something that Netanyahu has refused to do. His strategy has been to keep the conflict alive. It's what keeps him in office.
I suppose the way you could argue it has been militarily successful the past 12 months for Netanyahu is if you take Iran to be the big regional threat to Israel, well, Iran and its proxies have been severely weakened. We've seen the decimation of much of the Hamas and Hezbollah leadership. We've seen strikes against the Houthis in Yemen. We've seen Iran severely weakened as well through the assassination of key figures, and also the Shia crescent disrupted through the fall of the Assad regime in Syria. So from that perspective, it's been a very successful year for Netanyahu.
Yeah, I suppose you could say that certainly Israel's enemies have been hit very hard by Israel's mighty military machine. I must say, with the help of the United Kingdom, with the help of the United States and other allies of Israel. But we have to also recognize that on October 7th, 2023, 1,200 Israelis were murdered in their homes and on the border. And we've had more than 800 soldiers killed in the past 14 and a half months of this war. And our economy is in a really bad shape because of this war. So it's really a very narrow perspective to look at it solely from the military perspective. We have neighbors in this neighborhood where we're living, whether it be Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Egypt, the Palestinians, and other countries, and a leader in this country, in this region, should be looking forward on how to bring their people safety, security, and prosperity, and not just the achievements of war.
Obviously, in recent months, Netanyahu has faced corruption charges in Israel, and in November, the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for him. Do either of those have the potential to cause long-term problems for him, in your view?
I don't think for him personally, but I think that it is a wake-up call, or it needs to be a wake-up call for Israel. This is just the beginning of warrants for arrest that are going to be issued by the International Criminal Court against Israeli politicians, leaders, and military people. There's a very strong sense that Israel is committing war crimes in Gaza, and until now, Israel has basically had impunity. It's going to face real charges continually as this war goes on in Gaza, with more than 2 million homeless people in Gaza now and facing a cold and wet winter with disease and hunger and lack of sanitation. There are going to be serious consequences for what's going on here. I think that Netanyahu doesn't take it very seriously. He uses the anti-Semitism card all the time and says that anyone who's against Israel is an anti-Semite. But there is legitimate, real criticism against what Israel is doing, and that has to be dealt with. Eventually, the people of Israel will be faced with that as our world is becoming smaller. It's more and more difficult to travel to Israel, to leave Israel, as fewer and fewer airlines are willing to fly here. And I think we're going to feel the impact of that in the international community in the time to come.
Gershon, you've spent your career working towards peace in the Middle East. How do you rate the chances of a ceasefire in Gaza this year, speaking now?
I think we have to reach a ceasefire, and I think the chances are good. What's happening right now, I believe, is that everyone is waiting for Donald Trump to enter the White House. I met with some of the Israeli negotiators in charge of bringing back the 100 Israeli hostages who are in Gaza. They know that the only deal that can be made with Hamas is if the war ends. Trump is the person that they're all waiting for. I was told specifically in about 3 weeks' time, there's likely to be a deal from now, and 3 weeks is the time when Trump is going to enter the White House. It's not clear what Trump is going to do and what kind of pressure Trump is going to put on Netanyahu or on Hamas or on the Arab leaders, but everyone knows how unpredictable he is, and they're afraid of him. Netanyahu was not afraid of Biden. He could always go to the Republicans, and now he will have no one to go to if he's unhappy with the American policy.
Gershon, always appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Dr. Gershon Baskin there, a seasoned expert in Middle East negotiations and peace building.